On today's show, some people have seen Aquaman, not named this guy, and they're raving about it so far. Ralph broke the box office, but what broke the internet? You guessed it, the Lion King teaser trailer. Quite a Movies Talk starts right now.
Sometimes I watch your intros and I'm just like super impressed how smooth you are. I don't think enough people say it.
Is this one of these opportunities?
You were very smooth.
Oh, thank you very much. It was very tough to do that because A, I haven't seen Aquaman. B, I wasn't really paying attention to the box office over Thanksgiving. And C, I didn't see the Lion King trailer when it aired on TV, so I was too focused on the Redskins-Cowboys game. And I saw everybody tweeting about the fact that the Lion King trailer aired, and I'm like, well, I missed it. So then I watched it, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I want to welcome Perri Nemiroff and John Rocha. John Rocha is going to get talked to second because Perri Nemiroff not only was celebrating Thanksgiving along with a lot, we hope everybody else out there enjoyed Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is now forever known also as Perri Nemiroff's birthday week. How'd it go for you, Perri?
Every single year. It doesn't matter when my actual birthday falls out from here on out. Thanksgiving is also my birthday. It was great. We had a nice time. We went and we had steak because that's what we do on Thanksgiving, and we did a little early Black Friday shopping because that's also what my crazy family does on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Steak and Black Friday shopping for the Nemiroffs. You know, Rocha, nothing warms my heart more than seeing a tweet from Perri over the weekend saying that she's enjoying some different stuff. What she's really doing this weekend is watching a lot of football. I know you as the host of Clutter Sports Time did as well.
Yeah, we did. There was a lot of football. We talked about all about this morning. Fantasy football stuff going on. You know, the thing Perri Nemiroff needs to understand as she walks into the playoffs is that she may think she can't beat Gucci, but teams start sitting their best players right around this time to save them for the playoffs. That may help you.
Someone told me that's not going to happen, though.
No, it might.
Really?
Yeah. It might. Right now, Melvin Gordon had that injury. They're going to sit him for the next 2 or 3 games.
Why are you laughing, Cody?
There it is.
Someone knows secrets that I don't, and I want to beat him so badly.
At these two bickering back and forth, who are still in the thick of the playoff race at the Collider Fantasy Bureau. Me, not so much, because I'm already sitting my best players. Mark Cooper, I didn't care what he did. I didn't want to see it as a Redskins fan, and I don't want to see it here today. So we move on to our first story that does involve Thanksgiving weekend. That's the box office. Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph breaks the internet, crushed it over the 5-day total of $84 million. That's a little higher than most analysts were projecting. Also a little higher than what most people surmised was the performance of Creed 2. That also opened this weekend, $55.8 million. Robin Hood, on the other hand, new release, costs over $100 million to make. Not so much, barely scratching $14 million over 5 days. That one hurts. Holding pretty strong was Dr. Seuss's The Grinch, as you might expect given this time of year, and Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. So for Wreck-It Ralph, I just think it's a reassurance that, oh, don't worry, when Disney makes an animated movie, probably going to do really well, especially if you pack that many references in it. I think a lot of people were waiting for a Ralph sequel for a long time, as they were for a Creed sequel. Now, we didn't have to wait nearly as long as we did with Ralph for Creed, but I love the fact that Creed 2 did as well, because that's a movie I truly loved. I thought Ralph Breaks the Internet was great, but Creed 2 spoke to my heart, Perri. And so that's what I'm really pleased with here today. Are you happy about anything? Are you sad about anything? Did the people get it right paying for movies?
I wouldn't say I'm sad about anything on the box office. I'm beyond thrilled for both Ralph and for Creed, because not only did they make so much money this holiday weekend, but they're probably going to continue to make a lot of money. Have you looked at the calendar for the next 2 weeks? There is next to nothing. And then add in the fact that Ralph Breaks the Internet has an A- cinema score. Creed 2 has an A. Woo. That is a sure sign that these two movies are going to have legs, and I think we're going to see them make a lot of money in weekend 2, just like another movie that I caught finally this weekend, and it was so worth catching up on, and it was Instant Family. And the theater that I was in was packed. It made a nice chunk of money after it opened. You know, not so hot last weekend, but that's another one that I would keep an eye on, but the one that I'm really excited about right now. No one else is going to be excited, I know, when you guys see it. I just have this feeling. But I love The Favorite.
I've seen it as well. Really good movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Everyone's talking about how they're not going to like it, and it's bumming me out a little bit.
I think a lot of people who saw it over the 4 screens that it played, I think it has the highest per-screen average of any movie since La La Land did a similar feat. Again, The Favorite only opening on 4 screens. We had the luxury of seeing it at TIFF, or at least I did. I'm not sure where Perri caught it. She's got other channels she can go through. should she need to. But yeah, I think it's a movie that might catch on with people. It's a very different movie than Instant Family, but it might be in the same vein where you hear people talk about this movie that, hey, I really liked it, so more people go out, especially for the favorite once it gets in wider
I hope
release.
so. It's it's a weird movie. It's got like a kooky sense of humor, and it taps into all different tones and different themes. It's very interesting. I wouldn't necessarily call it a crowd pleaser, but it's easily one of my favorite movies of the year. And now that I've gone to a proper screening, but my screener has arrived, I plan on abusing that screener.
All right, Rocha, you have anything to say before we move on?
I do not abuse
Bye.
screeners. I do not abuse screeners. Oh my. Yeah, I really and thoroughly enjoyed hearing about Ralph. Ralph is recognized as my favorite Disney movie ever, and so
What? Really?
Wow, bar none. It's just something about that film that really speaks to me, and then seeing how well the sequel was, how many chances that sequel took too, because it gets real dark in certain spots. And I'm really surprised that they went that route and that it was this successful the way it was. I'm happy for that. Creed 2 is another one. Not Creed, it's Creed 2. It's a whole other animal and a very different and unique entry into the Rocky franchise. It's fantastic to watch, and this is the movie where it stops becoming Balboa and it starts becoming Adonis's franchise, and we'll see where we go with that. So I want you all to, I would love to see you guys tweet at me, let me know what you thought about the movie, because I loved it to pieces. The thing that shocks me though, and I want to bring it up to you all a little bit, is Greenbook underperformed. Greenbook did not come out the gates. They're talking about how it didn't do so well, and so everyone was talking about this thing winning best, possibly being nominated for Best Picture. FYC, I'm sure you guys have talked about it numerous times. Jeff is a massive fan of the film. You liked it, but our old Matt Goldberg didn't like it on the .com. But seeing this thing underperform, are we entering into First Man territory again, where this thing is getting a little bit of a backlash and now is not doing well in the theaters? Will this affect awards for this film?
Not that it's the be-all, end-all, but I have to bring up Cinema Score again because this one got an A+. This one got an A+. I know there's definitely some criticism, some very valid criticisms about the movie, but I do think that this one has a much better chance than, let's say, First Man did at continuing. And with these next two weekends being pretty empty, still making a little bit of noise. But I still definitely think that Greenbook is firmly in the Oscar conversation.
Yeah, and I don't see it being another First Man simply because this doesn't have the hype that First Man got. I mean, First Man is about a seminal moment in American history. Greenbook is a little known story that is also based on true events. Whether they're sugar-coated or not is one thing. I really enjoyed the movie and the message that the movie has. And I think that the reason why you've heard about Greenbook at all is because of the positive response it's gotten, and that's what's building the swell. Maybe that's why we all expected it to do a little better teen it did. The movie only cost $23 million to make, and again, this isn't some huge event tentpole feel film like what First Man maybe could have and should have been. Greenbook could be the little movie that could, but we have to wait to see. I do go back to Perry's Cinema Score on that one, with it being an A+. I think it's got legs, but we'll see if that's the movie, because it is, I feel like, a good family movie for the most part. Instant Family, maybe that just steals its thunder. It's possible that could happen.
It's a tough weekend. I think one of the only reports that I read that had some sort of suggestion as to why it didn't perform so well this weekend is that maybe they should have had a slower release. They went wide with the movie too quickly, but I don't necessarily know if that's the specific reason. I mean, I had been watching the tracking reports for this one just because I was so excited about it, and this seems, maybe a little lower than what the numbers I've been seeing, but it's not like I ever saw it popping big time to the point that it was going to be a box office smash along the lines of, let's say, Bohemian Rhapsody or A Star is Born.
Yeah, my concern is small movies that stumble out the gate rarely find their legs again, and that's what concerns me about this. But one film that I saw this yesterday, please do not waste your money on, is Robin Hood. Sweet Mary, Mother of God.
You went to go see it.
I did. I have a friend who's going through some emotional tough times. He reached out to me. He goes, I want to go see something stupid in the movie theater. Will you come with me? I'm like, I love you. Let's go. Robin Hood. Absolutely terrible. And that film really thought it was going to launch a franchise. The whole time it's just telling you it's going to launch a franchise. And you're just sitting there going, oh my God, you guys, how could you mess this up? So many great talented actors. That director, Otto Bathurst, I'm getting into Peaky Blinders. He directed the first 3 episodes that first season. He's a good director. That Black Mirror episode. This is a good TV director. Somehow did not translate at all into film. It is incredibly boring. People were whipping out their phones within 45 minutes to an hour at theater screen, and I didn't even get mad because I get it. I put mine under my jacket, was just checking my internet or checking my Instagram because the movie was so terrible. It did the job for both of us in that he wanted to watch a terrible movie and I enjoyed it with him, but it is horrible and I feel bad for Taron Egerton. Here's $100 million movie that made $9.8 million. That is a horrible bomb, and all these great actors in the film. I don't know what happens in these situations when you cast these great actors and then just completely piss away the opportunity.
You always wonder if they realize it on set while they're still making the movie.
They must.
If they wake up like 3 weeks in and they say, "God, what do we do?" It's like a bad vacation where you just want to go home, but you can't. Yeah. And the other Robin Hood movie that Ridley Scott did, that also tried to launch a franchise, because at the end of the movie, it's like, and now we have the Robin Hood that we know, so let's get that movie. I'd still go see that movie. I don't know if I'm going to go see this Robin Hood.
Robin Hood should not be 55 years old.
I mean,
I can't go see a Russell Crowe sequel movie. He's not
Batman can be older now, so why not have Robin Hood be older? All right, what's going to do well this weekend? Because like Perri pointed out, you got Mary Queen of Scots is the big one. I think the Possession of Hannah Grace might be this weekend. It's not a lot, so it looks like Ralph's going to take it again. Yeah. Does Creed 2 follow suit and come in number 2?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is the weekend that was. We'll keep you guys posted as to how Perri does this weekend in her box office fantasy. Matt, did you win your thing this weekend?
I'm not that thrilled with my fantasy movie league performance this week. It wasn't terrible, but.
This is what happens. She's starting to focus on football because the playoffs are right around the corner.
Being distracted.
It's a real problem. If you knew, so you know how the new iPhone update gives you your screen time?
Yeah.
It's like, it's disturbing.
All right, well, either one of y'all want Amari Cooper for your playoff runs, give me a call. In the meantime, we have a movie that may surprise a lot of folks, and that would be Aquaman. At least if the initial reviews are to be believed, a select few got to see Aquaman a couple days ago, maybe it was a week ago, I don't know, because I wasn't there, but they got to see it, and rave reviews have come out of there for the most part, and that includes our own Dorian Parks, who was lucky enough to see it. He tweeted this. You guys ready for Dorian's tweet? So I don't have it queued up, but a lot of people are tweeting, and Dorian says he likes it. We should probably just have Dorian come in
fam,
here, but I'll
I
read
liked it, fam. It was the best, fam.
It was not that. It was actually, he said, I loved Aquaman. It's definitely one of the best DC Universe movies thus far. It's a fun underwater fantasy sci-fi adventure everyone will enjoy. James Wan did a great job of bringing the first Aquaman movie to life. I had the privilege of having an exclusive interview with Dorian Parks at his desk about 30 minutes ago, and he elaborated on his thoughts. And the way that he's talking about it seems like that Christmas was actually a great time to open Aquaman, because it's a good family comic book movie that, for the most part, he said really enjoyed. So that's what I'm seeing online a lot.
Yeah.
Is that an indication as to how the movie's actually going to be, or is this an indication that Warner Brothers knows how to invite the first few people that are going to enjoy the movie?
Yeah, let's take a peek behind the curtain in our business. And sometimes you get invited to these screenings and you get encouraged or, asked to maybe have a more positive look on things. They don't try to influence you to go one way or the other, but they'd like you to. So maybe some people, but this many people of this much quality saying they like the film gives me a lot of hope and confidence and happiness. And, Dorian, his thoughts as well. But some other people have chimed in here. We were talking off camera about them, and I like what they have to say. It excites me. I'm looking forward to it. If it's a fun popcorn movie, there are some bad moments possibly. I won't be surprised by that. But overall, if it sticks the landing and it's a lot of fun, and by the end of it, I go, I wouldn't mind seeing another one of these, then I'll be happy. I'm not expecting too much. I just want to enjoy myself. It's Christmas. It's a popcorn movie. That's all I want.
Well, as somebody who has had the privilege of going to some of these screenings before, it bothers me that somebody would say, oh, well, you got influenced by being at the movie. So I don't think that DC or Warner Brothers is trying to influence opinion at the screening. I do think they handpick people based on, hey, we think that these people are really going to enjoy this comic book movie.
That's probably
so it's
better
almost
said.
like you're hedging your bets. It's not like, hey, we're going to put subliminal messaging in the middle of the movie to make you think you liked it. We're not going to serve you a bunch of drinks just so you think that you liked it. But they will say, hey, I think this person or this person or this person might really enjoy this. And then on top of that, we're going to add some of the most noted critics in the industry. Jermaine Lucier being one of them. He said Aquaman is a big, fun, wild ride. It's unabashedly melodramatic and over the top with the largest, most ambitious sense of scale imaginable. That's pretty impressive. Parts of it are kind of bad, but they are not the majority and oddly still fit in with the cartoony tone. Second best DCEU movie, in his opinion. Yeah, for Jermaine, Perry, and that's pretty much the most negativity we've seen from these early reports is that, well, some of it gets a little over the top and cartoony.
Yeah, just to add to what you were saying before, I've never attended one of these screenings and ever have been asked to focus on the nicer things ever. You're just invited, you sit there, and then it's your responsibility to share whatever you're able to share after if there's some sort of review or social embargo. And for what it's worth, it's always my honest opinion, and I would like to think it's everybody's here too, because I mean, this is great. I've been rooting for Aquaman. I've been rooting for James Wan. I'm a huge fan of his. So yeah, I'm going to go into this screening and eventually I'm going to make up my own mind and I hope that I like it. But right now, I mean, what more could we ask for but a really positive response right out the gate from the lucky few who got to see it?
Yeah, it's a good start for Aquaman for sure, Rocha, because I think the vast majority of people aren't getting too deep into who got invited, why did they get invited, what happened at the screening, what sort of weird cocktail were they served, were they given Nikes and purple shrouds to wear while watching this. I think they're just going to see that, hey, Aquaman, the buzz is pretty good on it.
Well, maybe I should clarify that. I mean more like we'd like it to do well. We hope you enjoy the screening. Those kinds of things like positive reinforcement. I'm not trying to say they try to influence your thoughts, so I apologize if that is
misunderstood. Did Jason Momoa play a shirtless guitar number before the screening?
Right before it gets you influenced. That's what I'm trying to say. But overall, yeah, this many people saying how much they like it does excite me. But my concern will be at the end of the day, what part this film plays in the overall universe of what they're trying to create and how much of it gets referenced here. Do we get a Shazam reference? Do we get a Superman reference? Do we get a Wonder Woman reference? What's going to be in here that's going to connect it? Or is this really going to be an individualistic film, much the way that Wonder Woman was, because they're kind of like turning the page into 2019 with that Joker movie and Captain Marvel or Shazam rather, and Wonder Woman 2. So those are the things that I walk into. But look, at the end of the day, all these people saying how much they liked it, that should encourage you. Plus, the fact that they released it 3 weeks earlier that the embargo up to, that should also encourage you that people are gonna like this thing for the most part.
They got to make some serious noise with all that competition coming up. So, like we said in the last story, 2 weeks with barely any new big releases. Well, because get ready for them the weekend after that, and then the weekend after that. It's like all the competition in the world, some really, really big properties, your Bumblebee hitting theaters. Aquaman has to make noise now if it's going to make a sizable amount opening weekend.
Unless you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, because you can get tickets to see Aquaman 1 week early. I just read that. So if you're an Amazon
you can
Prime,
see it 1 week earlier.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of tickets they're giving out to only people who are Amazon Prime subscribers. So not only do you get that sweet discount on baby carrots at Whole Foods, now you can go see Aquaman a week early. If you want more from the reports that have already seen Aquaman, you can go to Collider.com's cool article on it. They collected a bunch of stuff, and so you can read the aggregate. It's mostly positive. And forget about setting up the DCU. I'm concerned, and I would be appreciative of James Wan's effort if he's able to give everybody who I've seen in this cast enough screen time, because there's so many different characters, and I know that there's a whole mythology just with Aquaman to explore. This movie could be about a lot more than just Aquaman if you're able to pull it off. And then on top of that, we'll be talking about how does this fit in with other characters? Are the same people still going to be playing these characters? Are we going to see Momoa back as Aquaman? Whole lot of questions around this movie.
I liked all the love I saw for Black Manta. A couple of people brought that character up in their tweets, and I was happy to see that. I saw a shout out for Amber Heard too. I'm looking forward to seeing what she's capable of here. And most of the tweets that I read used the F word, fun, and also there was a lot of the B word. You know the B word? Blast.
Bombastic.
It was a blast.
Okay.
So really, yeah, I'm curious to see how it connects to the DCEU overall also. I know we're not calling it that, whatever. But this just sounds like it sounds like it could be a lot of fun in a contained story, a wild ride, and really, what more can you ask for, especially from a guy who not only made a name for himself in the horror genre with a lot of films that I love, but proved that he could do a wild ride in the 7th Fast and Furious film. So it's all lining up where I have a good feeling that maybe this reaction is going to be the widespread reaction when it comes out.
It's got to be a big movie. It's 70% of the earth, so, there's a lot to cover.
Hopefully we'll have a blast with this fun movie. So it's a lot. We also want to remind you guys that for your consideration, Best Documentary is up with Won't You Be My Neighbor director Morgan Neville. Perri, did you have the chance to be on this one? Or are you upset that you missed it?
No, this might be one of my favorite FYC episodes we did. So we all sat there like we do every single week, and we picked a category, Best Documentary, and there are so many good documentaries this year. I can't even begin to say a list right now. Otherwise, that'd be the entire movie talk. But we sat there and we did our predictions as we always do. But Morgan Neville not only joined us to talk a little bit about making Won't You Be My Neighbor, but he also joined us for the entire conversation. So he's talking about his movie, and he's also weighing in and singing the praises of a whole bunch of other documentaries that he's going to be competing against. So I don't know, it just felt like a really exciting panel, a panel that offered you the opportunity, one, to see what's going to be in contention, but also offered a little insight into what goes on behind the scenes from the perspective of someone who could be up for an Academy Award this year.
Did the terms free solo or screwball come into play during the conversation?
Free solo.
Okay. All right. I didn't see Screwball at TIFF. It's directed by Billy Corben, who's a great documentary filmmaker, and it's about juicing. Aled Rodriguez is, that whole scandal that went down with him and his doctor. So interested to see that one too. Documentaries, like Perri said, great this year. So make sure you guys check them out, and definitely check out FYC right here on Collider Video. All right, our next story involves the Lion King trailer that everybody was gushing about. You think some people like Aquaman, people raved about the new look at the Lion King. There was the old look for some of us who were lucky enough to be at D23, but this thing looks magnificent, and it's almost like you just expect it to. As soon as the Lion King comes on and you get that feel, all the animals look so realistic. I don't know how they got the giraffes to stand that still for that long. You hold up Simba, you see Rafiki. This thing looked amazing. It looked amazing, and just to hear the way that I'm saying it, it's like, well, duh, it's Jon Favreau working with Disney. See what he did with the Jungle Book. Did we expect anything less? The bar was set very high, and if the Thanksgiving returns are any indication, John Rocha, I think some people might go see The Lion King.
Oh, yeah, this is going to blow the doors off the box office. Let me tell you something. Nothing tells you being in line that this is going to do well than being in line at a GameStop in El Segundo with a room full with 10 people behind you, and you start watching that trailer at 11 p.m. at night at Black Friday, and everybody is crowded around your phone watching it, reacting to it, and loving it. Different ages, different sizes, different ethnicities. And so I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this. I'm not the biggest fan of the animated movie. Let me say that right now. It does not grab me in the way it grabs other people. I understand why people love it. I get it objectively why it's a fantastic film. Thoroughly enjoyable film. Just not, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'll take Nemo any day. And so for me, this film excites me, or Aladdin rather, this film excites me with the look of it, that James Earl Jones' voiceover is incredible, and just what the scope that Favreau is doing. And I want to push back at these people who are tweeting like, oh, I see, you can do a shot-by-shot remake of the animated film. Come on. Don't be ignorant. You know it's going to be more than that, much like his Jungle Book was much more than that. So stop knocking Disney for doing these live actions. If they do great work with them and people come and enjoy them and new generations enjoy these stories again, that's not a negative.
When I heard James Earl Jones' voiceover again, Perri, all I could think of was, oh, God, he's not going to make it out of this movie. and we're going to have to sit there and take it again.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah, I know. We're losing him.
So Lion King is my favorite Disney animated movie. I was just the perfect age for something like that. I vividly remember when I saw it in the theater for the first time, watching it over and over again, knowing every single line, every single song. I'm like a little nervous to see this now, because I didn't even have to watch the trailer. All I had to do was see the thumbnail for the trailer and like little baby Simba, and my heart just melted, and I kept thinking about that the entire time. I really think that based on my reaction to this trailer, that movie is going to start and I'm going to be a puddle of tears within seconds.
Yeah, I mean, my only criticism of the trailer that I saw was that all the animals look so realistic, and then you get Simba and it's like, that's a stuffed animal. That's how I felt. I didn't feel like Simba looked quite as real as the other.
Really?
Yeah. I felt like everybody else looked like they were real.
There was
animals.
so much detail in like every single hair. It's like almost that like reach out and you can touch it kind of feel.
Yeah, you can touch those eyes. There's something wrong with them. There's some sort of uncanny valley stuff. There's John Schnepp, the late great John Schnepp, always used to talk about the uncanny valley and how you can master that. I think Simba looked good, just like not quite as good as those giraffes and the monkeys and everybody else that I saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So apparently it's a hot take from Mark Ellis. Rocha, what did you get for Black Friday when you were waiting in line?
Bought a bunch of Xbox games for $27.99, a bunch of sports games, and I traded in my PS4 for an Xbox One X because they play 4K DVDs. So now I'm going to try switching over from PS4 to Xbox and see how that goes and see if I enjoy it. So I'm going to be, and I bought the Gold Pass. So if you want to play me online, I'll be playing FIFA, NHL, and Madden online at night when everyone's asleep in the house.
At night. I never thought that a Tease like that could get as creepy as it just did. Come play me in Madden at night.
At night.
All right, little Billy, stay up past your bedtime to take down the Rocha Says at Madden. I don't do this a lot, but I'm going to do this here. I did it with Beauty and the Beast. Almost got there. Calling 200 million opening weekend for The Lion King. 200 mil opening weekend. Anybody want to take that? The moment, anybody think it's going south of 200? I think this thing is doing 200.
I think it's going north of 200.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not going to pick on you right now.
Okay. You're not going to remind anybody of the Venom debacle? Do you think a Lion King could potentially do 200?
I think we're talking about two very different movies.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Venom's still raking in the cash.
Venom is making so much money.
It's making a whole lot of money, so congratulations to Venom and your creepy tongue. Move on to our last story. Before we do that, I want to remind you all we are going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Got any thoughts on the stories we have been talking about? A story we missed, a story you want to talk about, or just some sort of crazy predicament you want to put us in? Tweet us right now, and maybe I'll call on you. Guillermo del Toro is up next, and he is talking about a list of unproduced screenplays that he has made. He took to Twitter to run down all the screenplays that he's written or co-written over the years that have yet to come to fruition. And Guillermo, if you know nothing else about this man, you know that he is passionate about making movies, about the art of filmmaking, likes to spend a lot of money, likes to take a lot of time, and sometimes you only have so many hours in the day to make movies. And so these are some of the screenplays that he has written or co-written that have not yet seen the light of day. That includes The Witches, Justice League Dark, Beauty and the Beast, At the Mountains of Madness, Fantastic Voyage, The Count of Monte Cristo, Mephisto's Bridge, Pacific Rim 2, Superstitious, Nightmare Alley, Haunted Mansion, The Hulk Pilot, The Buried Giant, The Coffin, Drood, List of Seven, and then he says, and a few others. So I don't know what the few others are. Which one of those, Perri Nemiroff, as a huge horror fan, a huge fan of Mr. Del Toro, do you think, that's the one we need to give the green light to?
Right now, I have Guillermo directing a Star Wars movie on my brain, even though he didn't even mention that. But from this list, it's Mountains of Madness. He's been talking about it for so long. And just when I visualize that story, it seems like it would suit him so well. And, we did hit a point where it sounded like that movie was going to be a go, and then it wasn't, and that's a bummer. But I have this feeling like he's never going to let that one go. He'll always keep it in his back pocket. It's a gigantic production, and if anything, this just offers some extra insight into not even just how much time it takes to make an actual movie, but how much time and energy and effort it takes to even get that green light. I mean, can you just add up, you say and more, just add up these individual scripts that he wrote in his tweets and imagine how many hours of his life went into working on those, and they don't happen. That's the nature of the industry. That's why any of these creators, any director, any actor, anybody that works in filmmaking, they've always got to be creating and thinking, and you can never stop because you never know when that one project is going to get the chance to go.
Yeah, I mean, a lot more work than I've ever done creatively in my life, Rocha. I look at all those movies and I see Mephisto's Bridge. And that's kind of the one I want to see the most. I'm like, that feels like something I really want to hear how Del Toro tells that story. Got to be honest with you. All of these movies, most of them I don't even know what they would be about or what they would look like in his hands. I'd rather see than the Netflix Pinocchio movie. Yeah. Am I just an asshole?
No, I wouldn't. We should leave Pinocchio alone for a long time. Let's not. But he's going to do it, so we'll see how it turns out.
His next project.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. After that Benigni debacle, I don't want to go anywhere near a Pinocchio movie, to be honest with you. But Justice League Dark, that's the one for me personally, as a massive fan of the Justice League Dark teams. The fact that he was going to do Constantine on screen in Del Toro's hands. Writing his dialogue drove me insane. As a massive fan of that Hellblazer, it is one character that I would love to see in the right hands, and especially a man with this gifted with horror and this passionate about the things that he believes in. You know, he was enjoying writing the script. He said, you know, most times I write in Spanish. This is the one English script that I was writing that I was really enjoying myself. Katana, all these different characters involved in Justice League Dark would have been fun. That Hulk TV pilot would have been fun, you know? And so, but I get it. I mean, like Perri says, the man does a lot of things. He's very passionate about a lot of things. And the thing is, you have to have a lot of things in motion because things fall apart all the time in this industry. So you have to have other stuff to fall back on, other stuff to work on, and you're getting paid to work on all these things by people, by studios, what have you. Most of the time, you're getting paid to create these things or work on these things and bring these things to fruition. The idea of Mountains of Madness with Tom Cruise just hits all my buttons for me. And I know he did Oblivion. I know he did Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow obviously better than Oblivion, but I love Tom Cruise in sci-fi. Tom Cruise with Guillermo del Toro in a film like this, and James Cameron. Yeah, it's mind-blowing to think of what they could have created together. These three juggernauts of the industry.
Just give me y'all's read on this. Do you think that other filmmakers of prominence have stuff like this in their closet, or do you think that Del Toro is special in that way, that he's constantly writing stuff like this? Or is this par for the course and just other filmmakers aren't really as savvy or care about putting up their untitled projects on Twitter?
I think anybody who is a go-getter and who creates often has to have stuff like this on their list. It's just every single gigantic production is a huge endeavor, especially when you're talking about the level that his films are on, where it costs a certain amount of money, and there's just so many. When you think about all the different studios and their development departments and how many scripts maybe they commission and just hold on to, or even getting the rights to a book, to a magazine article, anything like that, and then it just never happens. And they have this whole big collection of stuff that maybe could make a great movie, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but they're not making it because, you know, they sit there and they think about it and it's not going to work for XYZ reason. It's just, you know, it's unfortunate when someone that you like and admire their work, you find out about something and you want it to happen and it doesn't, but it's the name of the game.
Well, I also think, listen, here's me, here's Del Toro, right? You know, I do 32 podcasts and shows, and like, you got a lot to say. That's what drives you to create those things. He's got a lot to say. That's why he does so many projects and is involved with so many projects. He's a passionate guy with so many points of views, and this material, this subject matter of all these different projects appeal to him, and he has something to say through these projects. That's what inspires him to work on so many things. Having met him in the interview that Perri did with him, you could just tell it all radiates off of him, and he has opinions on so many different things. So why wouldn't he have so many different projects to work on? It just makes sense.
You said 32 different. Is that a number you just plucked out, or is that's a real?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. They give us one of those and plug it here today.
Collider Sports Time this morning. Well, what a good time that was. Josh McCouga and Matt Nost. We had a really good time talking the NFL, college football, NBA, and had some thoughts about the Tiger Woods Phil Mickelson debacle that was that pay-per-view this weekend.
I didn't get to see any of it. I literally saw the last putt. Oh. And you know, I'm a huge Tiger fan, so I was bummed he lost. Yeah. But it's not a stain on his resume.
No, but the whole thing is a stain on both of their resumes, in my opinion.
Wow.
Josh McCouga had some thoughts as well. So do that on the Collider Sports YouTube channel. And if you haven't listened to the Cinephiles with Perri Nemiroff, she was on two parts. We just did Jurassic Park with Perri. So if you haven't listened to that yet, go find it on iTunes.
You're trying to include Perri so that you can get the Cinephiles plug in there. Check out the Cinephiles. It's a great podcast.
That was
as well.
So much fun.
And if you're in London, get tickets to see the top 10. Hey! You're going to be there live in February
23rd, kingsplace.co.uk. Over 70% of the tickets already sold. So go get your tickets if you haven't gotten it yet.
All right, Perri Nemiroff, you're up next, and let's talk about the witching hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to make me just come up with something.
What are you doing in London? He's not going to London, folks, but just do the witching hour, unless you want to talk about something else. I'll say the witching hour has Phantasm director.
Yeah, we had Don Coscarelli on the show, and we talked a little bit about Phantasm, Bubba Hotep, all that stuff you guys know and love. But one of the main reasons he came in is because he has written a book about indie filmmaking, and that is a guy where if you want to know how to make a movie with pretty much absolutely nothing and taking big risks, that book is filled with stories. Crazy stories about him making his first movie, crazy stories about him growing up and just loving movies and becoming a filmmaker. It is a great read, and that was one of my favorite conversations. It was such a pleasure to have him in studio.
All right, so you can check all of the shows that these two do, and they're two of my good friends. You follow them on social media because they have a whole lot to say about movies, but it doesn't end there. Anything else in the world of entertainment, the world of sports, two good follows on Twitter. Collider Live is going to be live tomorrow, as the name might indicate. You can also check out a new movie trivia Schmoedown as the tournaments get hot. And speaking of Schmoedown, hey, thanks, New York. We will see you January 20. Is it 6th? I don't know. I'm doing stand-up the Friday, and then the Schmoedown is Saturday. The Schmoedown's already sold out. You'll still grab a couple tickets left for my stand-up show on Friday. You can get those at markellislive.com. And we move on to, oh, look, there it is. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Cody. We didn't plan it ahead of time. I was just riffing, and the boys caught up. Thank you to the hardworking production crew, who I'm not sure if they're on Twitter. But you can check out The Wanger Show. There you go. Cody Hall drove his car today. Drives like a stallion.
What does he?
Oh, yeah, that thing. Whew. It's a nice Honda Civic.
Wow.
All right. Move on to live Twitter questions. And the first one, let's pick up the Del Toro conversation in this vein, because this question comes from Dave Grimes, and he says, if the new Hellboy bombs, and word is it's not good, well, we'll see about that. Could we see a Del Toro Hellboy 3? I don't think you're ever going to see that, but I also spin the question this way. Where would you put Hellboy 3 with Guillermo del Toro at the helm in that list of unproduced scripts? Because you know he's got ideas for Hellboy.
No, At the Mountains of Madness is still at the top of my list. But like, where is there a report that Hellboy is no good?
Hey, fans, stop doing that crap.
No one's even seen anything.
Yeah, you don't know that. Stop it.
They still haven't even released the trailer they showed at New York Comic Con. I really dug that trailer. Not that the trailer necessarily means the movie is a guaranteed winner, but I certainly have not heard this, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from that.
I think people get nervous anytime they hear the R word. You know,
oh, that's R-rated?
No, it might have been some reshoots, but I don't
well,
know.
They moved the release date, but if anything, that to me is a sign of confidence that they moved it from January to April.
Okay.
From now on, if you cite something's in trouble, you better cite a source. Stop asking questions or tweeting without any backup, because phantom words mean nothing. I would put the Del Toro thing near maybe, I guess I agree with Perry, right below the Mountains of Madness thing, and maybe right below my Justice League Dark. But I would like to see him take another stab at this, much like I'd like to see him do a Blade film, another Blade film. So those kinds of things are what I think he loves doing superhero movies, and he does, in my opinion, some of his best work in that realm. And so I'd like to see him tackle more of that.
Wesley Snipes going to be in that new Blade film that you're greenlighting?
God, I hope so.
I would love to see Wesley Snipes back as Blade.
He can still do it.
Yes, he can. Ricky Kennedy is up next, and he says, with a glut of films coming out between December 14th and 25th, should one of those films move up to December 7th to have a weekend to themselves? Something we've talked about.
I swear we were just talking about this exact thing before Movie Talk. I don't know if it was in the conference room or whatever, but I was talking to someone, and I said, why? Why is nobody moving? I understand that the weekend after Thanksgiving and the first weekend of December are usually empty for a reason. They're not the biggest money-making weekends of the year. But you are essentially shooting yourself in the foot by putting yourself up against two other major studio releases, not to mention this new version of Deadpool that's coming out. Why do you have a big weekend, even if it's not the biggest weekend in the world, at least an opportunity to make the most possible money all by yourself, and then duke it out with the rest of them?
Yeah, Rocha, I mean, I don't think Deadpool 2 is going to win a weekend, but Deadpool 2 might be the scariest of all these movies, because Deadpool 2 does not give an F. It's like that team that does not care. They're just there to spoil everybody else's chances of making money in the box office.
Perry, let me explain this to you, and you may not like my answer. Nobody may not like my answer, but here's the deal. It's a male-dominated, at this point, industry. So this is about blank measuring. This is about private parts measuring. That's why they won't move. These studios want to be the one with the biggest thing. That's why they think that's why they want to go to toe-to-toe. They want to have the claim, I went into the ring and I beat these other two studios and came out. My movie made the most money. It's about bragging rights. A lot of these studios, that's what they want, is bragging rights. Yes, could I move there? But then that's an easy win. Going now against two titans and you come out on top, you can brag about it.
If there is any truth to that whatsoever, there's a lot of very delusional people in this industry.
Agreed.
Because there are certain titles that I'm not going to throw under the bus right now that if they think they have any chance of getting bragging rights, you are crazy and you should move off that date immediately.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I never said it was right. I just said, or sane. It just seems logical. They like, I don't know, because that seems to be the only reason.
If that statement has any degree of truth to it whatsoever, someone needs to be replaced and think a little more strategically about their release
schedule.
schedule.
Old school Hollywood that still factors into decision making when it comes
hubris.
to.
Yeah, it's studios. Studios are hubris. That's what it's about. Look at February. February wasn't broken until what? Deadpool and Black Panther, right? Now people are going to start scheduling stuff in February, but before February was a dead month. Don't release anything. Your suggestion makes absolute sense. Something should drop 2 weeks ahead of time so we can recoup all that money and damage the possibility of these other two films making money because people won't be as excited or maybe as willing to spend more money at that time.
Well, here's what you got coming out Friday, December 14th. You have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Mortal Engines, and The Mule. Those are in wide release. So that's already tough. You got at least one Oscar contender movie, probably two. And then you also have If Beale Street Could Talk in limited release. So a lot of people, that's going to be a big per-screen average. And then you move into Wednesday, December 19th. That's when Mary Poppins is opening. 2 days later, you have Bumblebee, you have Aquaman, Holmes and Watson is going to be on Christmas. So there's just a lot to go there. I actually think Greenbook should have delayed, or at least delayed going wide until the week after Thanksgiving and just get away from all that competition, get ahead of all the other Family Dollar movie competition you're going to have at Christmas. That didn't happen. So if I had to move one movie up to December 7th, I would probably take, I think that Bumblebee and Aquaman are going to cancel each other out just a little bit, but I still think they have a big enough audience. I think Mary Poppins is going to be just fine. I would have moved Mortal Engines up even further. I would have put Mortal Engines where nothing else is going to give it competition, because Spider-Verse, I have a feeling, wink, wink, it's going to get a lot of positive reception on Twitter from fans that have seen it, and that's going to really, that movie's number, I think, could surprise a lot of people.
I don't care where you move Mortal Engines, that thing becomes Valerian. That is the new Valerian. It's going to make no money. It's going to crash and burn. It's not going to be a good movie. And
people like Valerian.
You can move it up. You can move it up. You can move it up if you like. I think Bumblebee should have moved up. I think Bumblebee, because of, you want to repair this relationship with the fans of Transformers, let it have its own weekend, let people fall in love with it, talk about it, crow about it for 2 or 3 weeks, and guess what? Then when they go home for Christmas, they'll bring their families to go see the film again. That would have been the smarter move.
I actually am going to agree and say it's Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I don't know, with Mortal Engines, I don't want to tear it apart before I actually get to see it myself. But box office wise, I do feel like it's a lost cause. So I'm not going to waste my maneuvering ability right now on that one. But Bumblebee, I think Bumblebee has a shot of making good money. The only downside to moving it that early is the fact that I think Into the Spider-Verse is going to be a pretty big heavy hitter, and that could definitely steal some of Bumblebee's weekend 2 audience if it did move, but it's not moving at this point. None of this stuff is.
All right, let's do one more question here and then we'll call it a day. It's time for atonement for myself and the panelists. If we want to go the route of the Quantum Samurai, says, are there any films that you realized you were overtly unfair to, but you have not come out publicly to reverse yourself? So you leveled a movie when you first saw it, you criticized it heavily, it grew on you over time, or you thought maybe you were just in a bad mood when you saw it, you didn't give it a fair review. Please share, because he thinks that movie people do this a lot more than suspected. So Quantum Samurai, and I'm going to open this up to the chat room too. If you think I've seen a movie that I have changed course on, please let me know, because my mind is blank as far as a movie. There's movies that I've loved that I'm like, I don't know, I shouldn't have loved it that much. Sucker Punch comes to mind. I have to see it again, but I can't think of a movie that I crushed, because I don't like crushing movies. I'm usually an apologist for films in general, to where I'll try to find the redeeming qualities of them and then have some jokes at their expense. But I can't really think of a movie that I hated initially and then it grew on me over time.
Well, the part of the question that I can answer is one that I haven't spoken about before, because the first one that comes to my mind is The Invitation. The first time I saw that, it was at a festival. It was a midnight showing of it, and perhaps I was a little tired, but admittedly, I was bored to tears that first screening, and I did not like it walking out. And now it's one of my favorite recent genre movies. I can't get enough of it. Every single time I watch it, I grow to love it more and more, and I'm analyzing every single detail. So that's the one that comes to mind right now.
Okay. Somebody is saying that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull for me. In the opposite, yes. because I gave that movie a fairly positive review when I saw it. I was a huge apologist and still am for Indiana Jones, but it's not a good movie.
No, it's a terrible movie. Watchmen was that for me. I did not like it the first time I saw it. I thought it was just tracing a comic book on screen. It really frustrated me. I've become such a massive fan of that film since. I think it was a film ahead of its time a little bit, and the director's cut especially is incredible. And nowadays, with everything going on with our world and our political climate, it speaks volumes. It speaks even more volumes, that film. But I can't think, I'm pretty honest, when I reverse decision on a film, I'm pretty honest that I mentioned on one of those 32 shows I host or am a part of. So I usually admit it. And I have no shame. Look, I have no shame if I get something wrong the first time and see it again, I go, oh, it actually was better than I thought. Because everyone changes their minds. Just because we're pundits or we have some critical status with us doesn't mean we're not human beings as well, that we change our minds as things progress. Because sometimes you get older, you experience things differently, and then you see a movie in a different light because your worldview has changed. That certainly happens.
Yeah, Haskell 420, my buddy Ed from New York City, seen a couple months. He pointed out that I definitely said on second viewing I liked Man of Steel a lot more, and I give you that. Yeah, I think Man of Steel. It just didn't grab me to begin with, but subsequent viewings, I'm like, yeah, this is a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah.
So that's the only other one I can really think of.
I still really don't like this movie, but I will admit that I might have watched the fourth Final Destination movie over the holiday. I really don't like that movie. That is a bad movie.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a really
known
bad
as
movie.
The worst Final Destination movie.
It's the final. I hate saying this because I know someone out there really does love it, but I wish that one did not exist in that franchise that I love so much. It just plays to the 3D the entire time. Who thought that would ever be a good idea? Those stupid transitions.
Well, thank you to the Quantum Samurai for allowing us to air some of our grievances, some of our past transgressions, and get it out there. And we may now go in peace. We have confessed. John Rocha, where can all the kids find you in your 32 shows?
You can always find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Let's have some fun. Tweet at me. Let's do it.
All right, Perri Nemiroff.
Twitter and Instagram at P. Nemiroff. Don't tweet at me unless you have something nice to say.
I am merely Mark Ellis. You guys can get upcoming tour dates for places like Phoenix, New York, Chicago, amongst other cities I'll be announcing shortly at markellislive.com. Thank you guys for tuning in day after day, week after week to see us. We'll be here all week for Collider Movie Talk. Throw it to the Y to say goodbye. Have a great day, everybody. Good luck to the Texans and the Titans. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.